afternoon, learners. This afternoon, we will be looking at the learning theories that we need to apply when we are teaching economics. And those are behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. Now, first of all, perhaps we would like to ask, why is this important? Now, it is important for you to respond in a particular way if your learners are not learning when you are teaching. It is also important that you must understand that although you may be a subject specialist, it does not mean that you can teach the subject. Understanding education theory and its application is considered a best practice for teaching and learning. So you should ask yourself, what should I be doing that I'm not doing when learners are not learning your subject? Hopefully you will get your answer when you ask that question. Many teachers mistakenly believe that they operate in the world of practice devoid of any theory. But you must remember that many of the answers to why learners are not learning your subject properly comes from learning theory, because learning theory is about what we know about learning. And you must remember that helping your learners is the bottom line. Helping your learners learn is the bottom line in your class. The word theory has earned a poor reputation among teachers. However, you must remember that theory forms the basis of everything we do as teachers. Everyone has a theory or an explanation for things that occur in their daily lives. For instance, why do we have such high crime rates? There are always several explanations for everything happening in our daily lives. Right? So the same applies to the field of educational theory. So the first theory that we will look at is behaviorism. Now, what is behaviorism? Behaviorism deals with the changes that occur in human behavior as a result of incentives. Behaviorist believes that the only behavior that can be studied is that which can be observed directly. The behavior of the learners, therefore, has a lot to do with the effectiveness of teaching and learning. Now, what are the assumptions that is underpinning behaviorism? Behaviorist believes, the first assumption is, behaviorist believes that a learner comes to class without any prior knowledge and that his or her behavior is modified by positive reinforcement, that is by praise and punishment. That is when we keep the learners behind, for example, if they've misbehaved. Behaviorist believes that support, either progressive or undesirable, enhances the probability of an occurrence happening. That means, for example, if we praise a learner, the probability is there that the learner in the future you will behave better and try to impress you again. According to behaviorists, reprimand reduces the probability of occurrences happening. So the behaviorists are saying that if we punish the learners, for example, the chances are big that the learner won't do it again. Behaviorists also assume that the learner is fundamentally inactive and reacts to incentives from the environment. In other words, from the classroom environment. What is happening in the classroom? Is the learner trying to impress you, or is the learner trying to impress his fellow learners? The primary focus here is on external incentives that affect human behavior. And those external incentives is praising and punishment. So the emphasis here is not on intrinsic motivation. It's important that you must know the theories behind behaviorism. And that would be Pavlov. And by now, everybody should know what the theory of Pavlov is all about. Skinner, Hull, and Thorndike. It is expected of a teacher to enhance effective teaching and learning by providing the necessary support to learners and by offering the right kind of stimulus to learners. This could include either positive reinforcement, praise, or negative reinforcement, punishment, in order to prompt learning. In this way, learners can be conditioned to learn in a particular way. Repetition and conditioning will produce desired behaviors. Behaviorist believes that positive reinforcement is more active in shaping learners' behavior than reprimand. Right. Behavioral changes occur for a reason. Learners work for things that give them positive feelings and for approval from people they admire. And so this you must remember as a teacher. If you can impress the learners, they will try to impress you as well. They change behaviors to satisfy the desires they have learned to value. The next theory that we must look at is cognitivism. Now, cognitivism was a response or a reaction to behaviorism. And cognitivism is concerned with the mental actions learners perform in order to obtain useful information, how they keep it in their memory, and how they produce it when needed. And we know that this is one of the things that we don't always, we struggle to remember that. Right? Is that learners, not all learners, can keep stuff in their memories and then produce it when needed. The underlying factor with cognitivism is the intellectual capability of learners, how learners think, and the skills learners need to solve some task using content knowledge. Learning is shaped by acquired learning strategies and prior knowledge and attitudes. The cognitive view of education is that information must be presented in an organized manner in order to achieve the most efficient learning. Now, the theories of cognitivism are Vygotsky, Brunner, and Ausubel. And here the focus is on the enormous potential of the human mind. So it is important for us to know what knowledge the learners are bringing to the classroom. This will enable us as teachers what teaching strategies to use, as was already said, and what learning materials to provide in order to make learning meaningful. We should also make use of information processing strategies to help learners memorize and organize economic concepts. You as a teacher should make use of different learner-centered methods, such as cooperative learning, discussions, role play, and demonstration. Your role under cognitivism is to facilitate class activities. Learners will have a greater retention of knowledge that they discover amongst themselves. For example, if you are teaching entrepreneurship, you should allow your learners to demonstrate their understanding about how to finance, start, and run a business. You should let them demonstrate the responsibilities of an entrepreneur within the community and environment. As we said here, the focus is on the enormous potential of the human mind. It tries to explain how the human mind processes information and how mental constructions are used in any new learning and how it results in the change of the learner's view of things. The strength of cognitivism, for example, is it stresses the importance of learners' mental levels and how learners process, organize, and recall information. Cognitivism recognizes the importance of education in empowering learners by providing them with understanding, skills, and confidence. And weakness is it disregards feelings, careful knowledge, and free will. The next, or the last learning theory that we must look at is constructivism. Now, what is constructivism? Constructivism also places the learner at the center of the teaching and learning experience. Learning happens by providing learners with experiences that focus on learning how to learn. Now, this can happen individually or in collaboration with other learners. Under constructivism, you as a teacher act more as a facilitator. That is why you must be aware of the learner's existing knowledge, because that is important because it serves as a starting point for planning. The emphasis under constructivism is on socially relevant knowledge that is relevant to the learner's life context. Under constructivism, critical thinking is encouraged as opposed to simple mastery and recall of information. Also, constant questioning and dialogue take place. A problem-solving approach is favored. Now, here by constructivism, I want us to talk a little bit about Bloom's theory. As an economics teacher, you must be able to make use of Bloom's taxonomy principles by allowing your learners to appreciate the different domains and how they are relevant to knowledge construction. Now, Bloom talks about three specific domains in education, namely the cognitive domain, the affective domain, and the psychomotor domain. And Bloom further divided the cognitive domain into 6 levels. The first 3 being regarded as low levels and the last 3 as high levels. But all of these levels are relevant to how learners construct their own understanding from their experience. According to Bloom, the first 3 levels are, which is being regarded as low level. Right, let me just get back to that so that we know where we are. The low levels are remembering, is the first one, understanding and applying. We also know that when we have to set question papers, we must set it according to these levels. But not the whole of your paper can be about remembering, understanding, and applying. Those are the low levels. Whatever a learner has constructed will be remembered. The learner will be able to understand and apply the knowledge. Let us the higher cognitive level of Bloom's taxonomy is analysis, evaluation, and creating. Knowledge that is created knowledge is the highest form of knowledge. But knowledge that is created must be critically analyzed. That is where the level of analysis comes in. Before an experience is analyzed, however, it must be evaluated. Evaluation allows you, the teacher, to judge the value of the teaching materials you are using. It enables learners to link together and reconcile ideas before making conclusions. For example, learners should be able to demonstrate how individuals and organizations manage their daily activities by using different management and leadership skills. Creating according to Bloom's taxonomy means the ability of learners to be creative so as to become independent. For learners to be creative, the environment must be conducive to reflection and thinking. So this, students, just gives you a basic summary of the three learning theories that you must be aware of when you are about to teach economics. Now you can listen to this particular video, but you must also go look at your learning material. In your learning material, it is further discussed. A comparison is also made between the three different learning theories. And then it is also required of you to go look at your recommended textbook where you can learn more about these learning theories. So this just covers the basics of the learning theories. So this is where I conclude with this particular video. The next video will look at the teacher-centered teaching methods. I thank you.